That is light. Thank you. Babe.
Now you're taking pictures of it.
Glass candles, you can blow them out now. And if you'd like to bring them up here, you definitely can. At this time, I would like to invite anybody who came from Austin to come up and speak. By no means do you have to. I just wanted to create the space for you because, again, this is what community is about. So if anybody would like to speak that came from Austin at this time, you're more than welcome here.
Awesome. How's it going, guys? How are you? My name is Hiram Gilberto Garcia. I've been live streaming in Austin for the last 2 months, and I was present at the time that Garrett Foster was shot. I was also present every single night that he was present at the protest because we were both present every single night. And I think that regardless of what you believe politically, I think regardless of what you think about the Black Lives Matter movement, I think the fact of the matter is, and I can attest to this because I knew Garrett, a little bit from seeing him every day for 2 months. that this was a needless death. That this was senseless. But a good individual who had a passion, who had drive, who had dedication, and who taught us love and unity through his relationship with his wife, that he never abandoned at any point. 99% of the time that I saw Garrett, he was pushing his wife in Austin, Texas, protesting and showing his passion for the Black Lives Matter movement. So I think no matter what you believe, I think that we can all agree, and I think that the story should be that somebody that represented and championed dignity, dedication, motivation, and more importantly, love, passed away in a moment that he should have never passed away. He should have grown up, you know, with his wife. But I really want us to focus on that story and forget the politics, you know, because human life isn't politics. Human life is valuable no matter what you believe, you know. And I know that because we all have loved ones, we all love each other, and hopefully we all love ourselves. So beyond that, I don't know what to say, you know, but other than just keep going. I think that Garrett showed us that passion was important, and I think Garrett said at some point that he was willing to die for this cause. So I think that, you know, with that, it's hard for me to talk about this, but I'll yield my time and head back over.
Thank you.
Travel down here to pay my respects to Garrett. The biggest thing I wanted to say was Garrett was a hero, no matter what the stories describe and what they try to misconstrue and things like that. It's really hard for me to talk because being down there, it's really hard to digest everything that happened. It took days for most of us to really even absorb the shock of what the fuck happened down there, guys. It's a fucked up situation that I never want to see ever again happen to anybody peacefully protesting within their amendment rights. One, to carry is within your Second Amendment, and two, you have a right to freedom of speech, guys. You can go and see the film yourself. You can go and see the videos yourself of a guy taking a right turn into a crowd who's already there. They dispersed out his way because we're honest, guys. You heard Garrett started carrying his rifle after a protest where somebody drove into APD, tried to hit protesters and pull out a gun and shoot at protesters there. He was then apprehended by APD and they let him go less than 30 minutes later. That's the type of shit Garrett was trying to protect us from. And for him, for us to have video, and for people to still not understand the truth of the story, it's complete bullshit. I watched this man take his last breaths on Congress. I talked to that man 2 hours before, and I told him, thank you for open carrying, buddy, because all the shit going on right now, man, when shit hits the fan, I promise you, I want to be behind you if shit happens. But I said, I know you're here to protect your wife, because that's what he has been doing. He had been pushing Whitney in the wheelchair for 3 months straight. 2.5 months at that time. 2.5 months. He did everything he could. He never overspoke any black person, any person of color. It was never about him. He was completely selfish every time. And for that to happen, for him to stand up after somebody drives directly into a crowd that we're marching, we were going home, guys. That was one of the most successful marches we had in a long time in Austin. We had black organizations coming together, throwing away their differences, saying, fuck our differences. You know what we're here for? Actual change. So forget the political opinions, and we came together and we marched through Austin so long, guys, so strong. It looked so good. I'm an Austinite, like I said. We marched up and down Congress, and I remember telling somebody, this is historic right here. This shit needs to be put in the goddamn history book. And as we're going home, a man thinks it's okay to turn into a crowd that is marching through an intersection at a red light that he could have just stopped at. He could have waited 35 seconds to avoid this tragedy. 35 seconds that man couldn't wait. 35 seconds that man couldn't wait to avoid taking someone's life. He drove into the crowd. We didn't have to walk anywhere. He drove into the crowd. He had enough time to roll down his window. I don't know about you, but if anybody has firearms training and somebody is threatening your life, you're not going to roll down no goddamn window to shoot. You're going to shoot. You're going to protect yourself. This man rolled down his window, eyewitness account, and a hand came out with a revolver and struck Garrett 3 times, shooting 5. Could have hit somebody else. And like I said, there was no protesters in the front. He could have sped off. So now all of us have PTSD and we're scarred and we don't know how to fucking act because of this. It's serious, guys. I'm still digesting it. This is so hard. We're built in this world, in this society that tells us, especially men, you gotta be strong. You gotta keep moving, keep going. But we watching black men die. And then we have allies who finally fight for our cause and we gotta watch them take their last breath on the pavement too. And then when the police come, what do? They oppress us. They punch us. They push us. They grab Garrett and they rip his shirt. They don't give him any respect. They don't bend over. They have knives. They can bend over and cut his shirt open. They don't allow any of us to help him, administer any fucking aid to him. What type of people are protecting and serving us? You go to training for what? 8 months or 6 months or some shit like that, and you can't get down there and administer any aid. Like they said, we waited just about 20 minutes for finally EMS to come, which is probably in an 8-block radius.
Yep.
The cops have been following us that entire march. And unmarked cars and vans. What you telling me it takes 20 minutes almost for an EMS to come there and save that man's life? And I'm sorry that I'm harping on, guys, but it took me so long to digest this.
Don't apologize.
It took me so long to digest this. I went to his visuals. I just didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
But I promise you, on the inside, I am hurt. I am hurt. And I didn't even have to know Garrett like that. It triggers other PTSD that relates to that situation, guys. So you may not know Garrett personally, but you know somebody personally that will die for you, that will fight for you to the end. Think about them and you watching them take their last breaths, gasping for life. The people who say they're supposed to protect and serve us are sitting there, pushing you back, punching you, saying, get the fuck back. You're not caring about your friend, your family member who's just sitting there in the middle of a goddamn street, dying, and you're telling him to hold on for his life. That's why we're out here. To tell the real story, because it's fucked up. Like Haram said, it doesn't matter your political affiliation. That has nothing to do with it. If you think this movement has anything to do with political affiliation, then you're bullshitting yourself. You need to go do some research.
Period.
That way.
It has nothing to do with that. It's a fucking human rights issue. You fight for people so they wouldn't be judged by the color of their fucking skin, or their hair, or the way they looked. Sorry guys, that's all I have to say.
Don't apologize.
Guys, I'm going to come up and say something because I'm coming out of Austin. I've been up there for 10 years, but I'm in San Antonio. So I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all my name, and I will show you my face. I am Jill McCafferty. I went to high school at Madison, and I had the Knicks, friends that I've known for over 20 years that I would have taken a bullet for because of their opinions of Garrett. And now I just hope they go ahead and rot in a cold pit in hell. Okay? I was there. I was there with him. There with him. This was the first night, first time marching that I chose to help secure the blocks instead of being right there. And I was half a block ahead. I kept my head on a swivel because I was always keeping an eye on my protesters. Because every time I come out to de-escalate and protect protesters. I heard that screech and I immediately turned around. I heard that first shot and I ran. By the time I got there, everybody was crowded around. I couldn't get in to put compression on that third wound, which is what I tried to do. So instead, I went around getting my protesters out of the way of the police. And I went around finding people that had info, that knew the license plate, that actually saw things, eyewitnesses that did not want to come forward to the police that had honestly brutalized us, which is why Garrett started practicing his Second Amendment rights. I will agree with everybody. I felt safer when he was there. That day, I was standing in front of APD, and I watched him and Whitney get out of the car, and they were coming to the crosswalk, and I waved, and we fist bumped as best we can with Whitney, of course. But it was always beautiful when we could. Said hi, gave love, and that was the last time I had the opportunity to speak to him. I've been saying this since that first day. And I got these words from you. When you take the best of us, you're left with the rest of us.
Yep.
You said we will rise up more and more fierce every time. Now, what are our souls? What is our consciousness? Honestly, it's the electrical impulses in our brains. When we die, the electricity doesn't just disappear, it soaks into what's around you, and part of Garrett went into every single one of us there. And we will carry his strength through this fight. But do not deny, we are making real changes.
Amen. That's right.
We are not going to let this country fall back into that sense of complacency. This is a fight. We still have people alive that remember Stonewall, that remember again everything in the 60s. They're still alive. This was not that long ago. So why are we still doing this fight?
Sister.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to cry in front of you all the best. Thank you.
Bless you.
Let's empower Garrett Foster. Say his fucking
Amen.
name. Garrett Foster! What's his name? Garrett Foster!
Garrett Foster.
Garrett Foster!
Garrett Foster.
I'm trying to strengthen a nation, and I'm losing my patience. In the wake of Garrett's death, I'm also coming from Austin, not that it matters. There's darkness and lightness. Darkness for a lot of people that didn't realize how hard this was going to be and how real it is out there every day and every protest. But the lightness comes with the unity that Austin created, that San Antonio has right now. And it's important to keep his name in your mouths, in your minds, in your thoughts, and whatever he stood for. He stood for this movement and for change. He was there to protect us because the pigs aren't going to protect us. He was there to protect us, so we have to protect each other in any way we can. And honor his work and honor his legacy. And continuing to do this and continuing to organize and continuing to check in on your fellow person because we only have each other. We don't have them to protect us. Garrett Foster died protecting us. What was his name?
Garrett Foster!
What was his name?
Garrett Foster!
Rest in power, Garrett Foster!
Amen.
She walking in like a soldier. Got her
How's it going, everybody?
hands.
Just gonna take a brief moment. This is for Garrett Foster. So I'm from here. I'm from San Antonio. Everybody from Austin, thanks for coming. I know you guys are running this. I just heard about this at the last moment. Wanted to come out and show my respects. You probably see this one shirt. Probably wondering why the hell I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One word. Boogaloo. You might have heard of it. You might not. He was one of us. He had just joined the team that I'm on. I was going to meet him. I had not met him. I was going to. And I know people that have. And I don't know if you saw this weekend what happened Saturday at Garrett's Memorial.
Yeah.
The 4 truckloads of armed men going to protect him.
Yep.
Those are my people. I'm not in control of them, but those are mine. Those are my friends.
Oh, the boogaloo.
We went there to protect his name.
Yeah.
We saw it.
So I want to make this clear. There are people out there that are going to go fight for him. I've been out here with the Reliable Revolutionaries before with no plates, armed, ready to go. I'm a veteran. I signed up to do this once, I'm going to do it again. All right? You seen that yellow Gadsden flag with the snake that says, "Don't tread on me"? Don't tread on anybody.
That's right. That's
All right? I'm here for every single person, regardless of race, nationality, ethnicity, religion. I don't care. If you're oppressed, that's wrong. He stood for that. He gave his life. He signed to give his life once. And he went out there knowing he was going to do it again. Maybe not that night. But it's a reality.
Oh,
And I just want to come out
He
and
got
say
the
thank
drone.
you to Garrett for being out there, for bringing us out here. I'm sorry he had to go out that way, but there are people out there that are willing to fight alongside him and alongside y'all. That's all.
Like you said, Garrett was willing to put his life on the line. He told us that literally verbatim out of his own mouth, that he was willing to die for this cause. He not only spoke it, but he lived it. He put his actions behind the words that he spoke. And that is what I tell my family, like when I have kids or when anything in life, the only way to lead is by example. That's the only way to lead. You can talk the talk, that's cool, but people are monitoring your actions. I'm aligning you with what you do, not what you say. And when he came out there, he was out there all the damn time. One of the last chants, or the last chant, that we were in the street saying, and it's like traumatizing, like that. Every time I hop on social media, I see this. I can't see that video. I can't hear that audio. It just re-traumatizes me and puts me back into that space when that happened. But our last chant that we had going was, "We frontline every time." Period. And that's what he was about. He was right there. No matter what people say, that savage, that demon, made her right. He knew he was right there. If he would have waited 30 seconds at that light like he was supposed to do, we would have been on the way. We were mobile. We were moving. He came out with a mission. He had a plan, and that was to inflict harm, damage, to kill. You don't drive into a field of protesters. What he did was premeditated. There's no convincing me otherwise. Garrett put his life on the line. He died fighting for us, literally protecting us. He was a hero. No matter how or who tries to slice that cake that any kind of way, that is what it was. That demon shot 5 times at his vehicle. His body consumed 3 or 4 of those bullets. He is literally a hero. At that close range, all it takes is 1 bullet to kill a man. And his body took 3 or 4. He literally saved lives. He drops off 1 bullet, there's 4 other bullets going into a crowd of people. I could have been one. My man could have been one. And countless faces that I'm looking out here and I'm seeing from back home that was there in that moment could have been one. So I can't allow nobody to cut that or to try to form their own narrative and run with that shit without having some kind of resistance from this side, from the real narrative. Like my man said, there was people out Saturday. I was in the back of that truck. I was riding with him. There's people out there that's willing to fight for us, alongside of us. Trust me, I made sure I met with the boys before we went out, just to see, all right, where I don't know too much about everything, but they were genuine about it. They knew, hey, the same way how you have these patriots that's willing to die behind evil and die behind, shit staying the same way how we willing to die for change, you got people on the opposite side that's willing to die for this shit to stay the same.
Period.
But let me get off of dying for a second. The same way that Garrett was willing to live for this shit, because he was out here doing that. He was living for it. He was fighting for it. He was marching for it. He was chanting for it. He lived for it and he died for it. So that's what I want. I don't want to focus too much on the death, because he lived for it as well. So when we say I'm willing to live for this, because dying can take a split second. Dying, that's quick. That's a pull of a trigger, and you out of here. He lived for it. You willing to live for this shit? Is this just a moment?
Period.
Are you willing to live for this
Say that shit.
until you die? Until that day comes? Are you willing to live for it? That's the thing. Are you willing to fight for this shit?
Say that shit.
For real. And I don't mean to use profanity. This is a beautiful thing. I love it. But literally, I'm going to fight for this until my last breath. Until my last breath. I know it, bro. I feel it. I know energy. I know when you say you're willing to fight for us, I believe you. I believe you, homie. I believe that. I believe Garrett. When he told us he was out there, he was protecting us. He put his life on the line. He was front line.
Every time.
Every time. Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Front line.
Every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Felix. I'm representing Tribune of the People here in San Antonio. If y'all are interested in getting involved in class struggle here in San Antonio, get with anybody, any of the people handing out flyers. If y'all forgive me for a sec, I have this speech prepared, so I'm going to be looking at my phone a little bit, but hopefully y'all can hear me. Garrett and his wife Whitney proved and continue to prove themselves to be flowers of the working people, the proletariat. We shouldn't view either of them in this situation as just another sad story, something to grieve and bemoan, but understand them as rays of light among us, shining examples of how to carry ourselves as servants of the people and their struggles. It would have been incredibly easy for both of them to have abandoned the struggle long ago, his wife Whitney being quadriplegic and Garrett having been a full-time caretaker, both of these being extremely consuming of both time, energy, and resources. Nobody would have blamed them or given it a second thought if they had resigned themselves to a quiet, safer life and just getting by, even when they knew better, but they didn't. They inserted themselves into the fight for power into the hands of the people wherever they could find it. Even now, Whitney, who witnessed her life partner's death, doesn't take this as an opportunity to stay home and breathe, but has continued to put herself in the trenches of the struggle on behalf of the people against the ruling class every day since that fateful night. They are role models in understanding that class struggle is not a game, not a hobby or identity we get to wear, not a social club, not an interest group. This is real. This is serious. The fight to seize power from the powerless is something we should strive to eat, sleep, breathe, and constantly study for it to come to fruition. Regardless of what anybody trying to use his death for pacifist means may try to tell you, Garrett died a revolutionary. The final chance before his life taken were front line every time, and one solution, revolution. He didn't believe in asking for power by asking the ruling class politely for it, but understood that we got to take it for ourselves. His death was won at the hands of an active duty Army Sergeant, Daniel Perry, a representative of the imperialist system he spent his final moments struggling against, and one that he kept behind him when he left the military. Garrett Foster and those like him can never truly die, because when we win, not if, but when we win, the names of the people who gave and risked everything will be forever present and visible in the future we're creating. Those who are willing to struggle and putting the interests of the masses first, they're the lifeblood that makes our victory not only possible, but inevitable. It needs to be understood that what we need to seek isn't an abstract justice, not peace, but to demand and fight for people's justice for Foster, against Daniel Perry and Austin Police Department protecting them. Thank y'all for listening, and thanks to Garrett and Whitney. It's up to us to make sure what they've given us isn't wasted. And one more thing, there's somebody here, there's an opportunist here trying to besmirch Garrett Foster's name. Somebody trying to say that he's a member of the Boogaloo group. He was not. He was not a member of the far-right Boogaloo group. He was fighting for the people. He was fighting for home. He was fighting for us. He was fighting for power into the hands of the people. And it needs to be understood that we need to keep these opportunists out of our movement and keep Garrett Foster's name out of their mouths. Thank you. Tell us something else. Not the time.
Hey, that's not what it's about, bro. Keep that shit for words. Keep that shit for words.
So,
Fuck APD.
Facts, yes.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out again. I just really wanted to show that in San Antonio, just down the street, this shit ain't sweet. I made it my goal to go to Austin once a week, and we don't feel, as you see, out there every day, guys. Every day. And here we get to stay in the comfort of our homes. So this is a call to action. If you are here locally in San Antonio, you need to rise up. There are things that we should be fighting for every single day outside of social media. Like there's shit that's happening in the city tomorrow that we need to pay attention to. And we've been way too quiet. So it'd be disrespectful to Garrett if we don't continue to fight this fight, not only in Austin, but in San Antonio too. So you will continue to see us out here. This should be a rise. It shouldn't take George Floyd. It shouldn't have taken Garrett Foster. It should not have taken Garrett Foster. If you don't know what it's like to stand out in front of APD, I need you to respect these people that spoke before me, Garrett. Because at any time, we don't get to go out there with cute protest shirts and cute protest outfits in Austin. That's not what the fuck that it's like. At any time you can be taken. At any time. For my people in San Antonio, you don't know what that feels like. So I really need you to take in what these people say. When you go home, I need you to remember that. When we are in the city council chambers, I need you to remember that. This fight is for everyone. So at this time, I'm asked for a call to action. For those of you that don't know, the budget is going to be discussed tomorrow. City council is going to fuck us over again. Not only are they going to, not decrease the police budget, but they're looking to increase it. The people that cause harm in our community. Because let's be real, you don't have to be a police officer. All white supremacists aren't white. You don't have to wear the uniform to be a police officer. So we need to rise up. Yeah, San Antonio, you're quiet now, but we need to rise up. Because they can look like us. So, tomorrow is this call to action. Right now, I need everybody to pull out your phones. If you're a San Antonio native, we need to do this right now.
We don't die, we multiply!
As my comrade said, pull out your phone. You don't have an option. It don't matter what side of I-35 you live on. It don't matter what organization you wear on your shirt. We gotta be all in this shit together. Because the people right down the street at City Hall, they don't give a fuck about us. And I need you to hear them. They don't give a fuck about us. So as my comrade said, right now, I need you to go to B as in boy, lowercase, I, T as in Tom, period, L as in Larry, Y as in, I don't know what Y is. Yoda, backslash, BLMSA. Let us tell you where that's about to take you. Where that's about to take you is to where you can leave a public comment on the wall for public. So what we need you to write is on item number 4. On item number 4, we need you to urge the city council, use whatever word you fucking like. Defund, reallocate,
Abolish.
invest, abolish, SAPD, and fund healthcare, housing, and education.
Period!
Because harm to one of us is harm to all of us. And like I said, it don't matter what side of I-35 you fucking live on. It don't matter what organization you rep, you claim. Today, that's why we're here nameless. We're here nameless because this is everybody's fight. So again, right now, you can leave your little comment, say defund, abolish, reallocate, disinvest from SAPD, and put that funding towards healthcare, housing, and education. Woo! And that takes the time. Because the only way in which we show the city that we ain't playing fucking games is together. It's together. I will say one more time, because I don't know if y'all heard me the first 2 times.
Let me hear you.
It don't matter if you're on I-35 in San Antonio or in Austin.
Thanks.
It don't matter who the fuck you here with. What matters, it is the city against the people. And if you don't understand that, you're at the wrong fucking event.
You need help? No, we are nice enough to just raise your hand. We'll walk you through the public comment. You need help
Where's
with
the,
public comment?
is it gonna be held?
It's only gonna be virtual. That's why we're making people leave
Okay,
comments.
okay.
Yeah, but they're gonna send a link out.
Okay.
/ BLMSA.
Yeah, share it with your friends.
Yes, there are graphics, y'all. It's graphics on
all over Facebook and Twitter. We ain't here to tell y'all who we are, so that shit don't matter. But share with your friends. You have until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Because at 8:59 a.m. they shutting that shit down.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did it earlier. They closed polls without letting us know.
Right. Straight up. You know how we gonna get there? I haven't got my phone. I have that. I'm just afraid of it.
What's his name?
Gary.
What's his name?
Gary Foster.
What's his name?
Gary Foster. Gary Foster. Gary Foster. Gary Foster. Gary Foster. Gary Foster.
Solution.
Revolution. Revolution. Revolution.
Rest in power, Gary Foster.
Everybody put a fist up. When I say fist up, y'all say fight back. Fist up!
Fight back! 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 Fight back!
It doesn't work.
Just yell, Merlin.
Just yell. That's why we've been yelling.
Got it?
If tonight has taught us anything, it is that trauma is not an individualized experience. It is a collective one. And it is an ongoing process. Healing is something that we will be doing for the rest of our lives. But it won't just be healing. And it won't just be in isolation either. We will be struggling and fighting together. And so as a direct reflection of that resolute will, I want to ask those of you that still have a candle to place it around this altar in a circular fashion to form a ring of fire that's representative of our own will, united in struggle and burning forever into the future against this oppression. Thank you for coming out tonight. And rest in peace, Gary Foster.